We've trekked America and the world, and now we're trekking through history. Welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Lincoln Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're looking at Trekking Through History from Underdog Games. Art is from Eric Hibbler and is designed by Charlie Bink. And this is a 2 to 4 player game where we are exploring through the past and building treks through history.
We've had a fun time playing this game, so we'll show you how it's played.
To set up the game, you lay out the main board and the clock.
Place the ancestor cards on the board and reveal cards from the Day 1 deck.
Give each player their crystal tank, 1 time crystal, and 4 itineraries. They pick one for the first round.
And then you're ready to begin.
On each player's turn, they will select 1 card from the time stream to add to their personal trek.
In order to collect the card, you must pay in time by moving your pocket watch.
You gain benefits from both the board and the card.
These tokens are placed on your itinerary to gain bonuses.
The time markers determine whose turn it is.
The player whose token is furthest back goes next.
If a chosen event happens earlier in time, the trek is finished and a new one is started. Players choose a new itinerary for the day and play continues.
After the 3rd day, points are tallied for each trek, and the player with the most points wins.
Trekking Through History is a new iteration of the trekking game. So the other 2, Trekking Through the National Parks and Trekking the World, both feature visiting locations out on a map. But in this game, you are going back in time and using your time machine to visit different specific points in history at events that occurred.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the game. I like just like the different time periods. So you might be in like ancient Egypt working on the pyramids, or you're like visiting Albert Einstein or something like that.
Yep. So when you build out your trek, you need to make sure that you are going to start and go all the way back however far you want to go in history. And then when you move your way back to the present, every card you add to your trek will need to be a later date, which will affect what cards you see out on the board that you're going to take to add to your own trek.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll have like maybe 2000 BC and then, oh no, all the cards are like 1995 or something like that.
Yep, so your trek may end soon, but you can always start a new one if you don't get a card that can be a later date in the trek that you're currently working on. And how do the points work at the end? What are you going to do?
There's a chart on the board that tells you how much each trek card is worth. So maybe like 1 is -1 or 7 is like 15 points. It's something like that.
Yep. So you can look and see, kind of estimate how many points you might be getting at the end of the game. There's also other ways to gain points. You can get a bonus for when you end on that 12th hour of the day. If you can land exactly on the 12, there's a bonus for that. And there's also bonus points on your itinerary board. So tell us a little bit about those, Lincoln.
Okay, so your itinerary board is like you have to get as many red tokens as you can. So sometimes it's like you have to get a bunch of red tokens to get 13 points, or you may only have to get like 5 and just get like maybe like 7 points or something like that.
Yeah, so it kind of chains those bonuses that you get on the cards, which is another way to gain points. So I've seen somebody not have very good treks, like they didn't have too many cards stacked together on one trek, but they got a lot of points based on the extras on those cards, because some cards will give you a lot of bonuses and some of them may not give you very many at all. And there's also some that are wild.
Yeah. So the wild ones are pretty much just you get a wild token and then it's basically just a wild. You can put it on any spots on your itinerary board.
Yeah. The artwork for this game is beautiful. There's lots of things going on. Every card has cool looking art, and the educational part is you can flip the card over and there's a little paragraph about the event that you're visiting.
Yeah, the art on this is really nice. You can obviously see by just looking at the box. It's really nice.
So what did you think about the components? Remember everything that came in the box?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I really liked the board where you're just walking around. There's like a big thing in the middle. Yeah, it was pretty good.
And it came with a neoprene mat. That's the main board, not just the. It's not just a cardboard piece. So that is nice. It looks. It rolls up and fits inside the box. It's have its own slot. All the tokens have their own slot inside the box in the tray. So everything fits together very nicely. And then. There are a lot of cards. So there's even a handy cheat sheet that says, here's all of the cards for this day, here's all the cards for this day and the date, so that you know, like, oh, the last day there's hardly any cards that are BCE dates. So if you are trying to plan out a trek, you know, oh, I could start a trek a little bit later in time, like in, 1200s or so. There's not going to be very many cards before that.
Yeah.
So you can do a little bit of extra planning that way with. One thing we didn't mention, there's also an advanced variant that you can add. There's another deck of cards, and that one you can gain a bonus. So instead of taking your turn, you can take one of those bonus card actions. And those do... There's a variety of different things. So it might gain a crystal or something like that. So we didn't even talk about the crystals. What do the crystals do?
Okay, so the crystals basically just makes you not move less. So you don't really want to get to the end that fast. You want to get as many points as you can. So the crystal basically just lets you move one less. So let's say, like, for some reason you have to move 4. If you just spend one of your crystals, you only have to move 3.
Yeah, so you're trying to get as many places visited and cards gained. And then what's something you can do? We didn't talk about the ancestor cards. What do those do if you don't like the cards that are out on the board?
So let's just say that you had like a really like card that was like maybe like something BC, and then all the cards out here are like really high. You might just want to take a wild card and just flip it in there so you don't have to get all these other bad cards.
Yeah, so the next player will hopefully pick a card and something new will come off the deck to try and help you out. Now, the ancestor cards do give you a wild, but there's no other bonus for being in one of the slots on the board, and they're not going to be worth as many points as the other cards.
Yeah.
So, overall, I thought this was a great game, especially if you're trying to teach events through history. If you're working on learning about the different time periods, there's cards that are featured through a lot of different civilizations in history. There's also a lot of different newer, not so far back in history, events that are important to learn about. So if you are trying to learn about some of those with kids or even with adults, this game may be of interest to you. We thoroughly enjoyed it here at our house. We played it with adults, we played it with younger kids, and everyone was able to pick up the mechanics. So the mechanics are easier enough. You're just adding cards that are a higher number to your trek, your tableau, and then scoring points for trying to get a big long chain of them at the end of the game. So for us, this is probably a game that's going to stay on our shelves, and one place you can get it is on Amazon. We'll have a link in the descriptions to pick up this game. I believe they brought it directly to Amazon here in the United States. So
yeah, this game looks really big and maybe even scary, but lots of any ages can play it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for checking out our video here about trekking through history from Underdog Games. And once again, thank you so much for subscribing and liking our channel here at Tantrum House.
Bye.